Hello everyone, Brad Johnson here, and in this video I'm going to be talking about, am I entering fourth density? And so this is one of the most common questions I'm getting through the sessions and even through a lot of the group chats. The most common question, or one of them, is, Brad, can you just tell me if I'm in fourth density right now? Can you just give me some type of confirmation that I'm there? Well, the whole idea in that sense is that, again, sometimes there can be misimpressions as it relates to what Adronis has shared. And I realized that was kind of a risk when I was basically being presented to share this information about entering fourth density, that I would get a lot of questions and say, okay, well, Brad, tell me if I'm in fourth density, if I'm in fourth density right now. So the whole idea really is that 2016 has represented the year where we would be introduced, so introed, into a shift that would bring us into the unfolding of fourth density. So again, moving into that particular shift, I have certainly felt some certain days where this energy of fourth density has become very, very prominent. Just feeling that you're lighter than air, that you're floating. It just feels like your body is so incredibly light. It just feels like you can sense a lot of different types of hues of colors in the sky, in nature, just all around you. You can feel that. I've felt days where I felt even more intuitive than I've ever felt before. And yes, this can be a transitional effect of moving into fourth density. But the whole idea, again, that is misunderstood in this way is that this isn't the only time, right? This is not the only cycle that is going to bring people into fourth density. There are going to be specific people that kind of represent, in the lack of a better term, an early bird shift. There are certain people in that sense that are going to be going through this early bird shift transition throughout this particular cycle, and that's it, right? Not everybody is going to go into fourth density through this particular cycled shift. And that is basically what is being said here. That is not to say that other cycles are not going to come along. There certainly are going to be more cycles, because Adronis has stated that within about the next 50 to 100 years, there's going to be more fourth density integration. And so around that time of 50 to 100 years down the road, we will become a fully immersed fourth density planet. So right now, Earth represents a 4D compliant / aligned planet. Okay, so that's basically what Adronis has shared as it relates to the Earth. We are now basically a fourth density culture. We are moving into that fourth density civilization energy. But it's going to take time for that full immersion to come together. And Adronis refers to us as a fourth density civilization or fourth density humanity culture. That's where we have ended up. But again, this question, am I entering fourth density? Am I going to be left behind? Am I just going to stay in third density and not being able to experience a whole new density like this? That's not someone else's call. That's not the whole idea of coming to me and saying, Brad, just scan my energies. Am I going to make it to fourth density? It doesn't work that way, right? It's not, and that's the most common thing I get. Can you just scan my energies? Just let me know if I'm there, if I'm in the fourth right now, or I'm still in third. I have no particular way of doing that. Because it's not so much the idea of just scanning your energies and saying, oh, yeah, there's times where I'm feeling you're lighter than air. There's times where I feel you've been working past a lot of emotional imbalances. I can certainly sense that. But that's not always giving the idea of a compliance in you moving into this particular fourth density shift. It's something that you really have to feel for yourself. That's the most important part. That's like another person coming up to me and saying, Brad, am I in love? I met this other partner. I met this new woman, this new man recently. And am I in love? Can you tell me if I'm in love? Why would you need me to tell you, right? The whole idea is that, do you feel love for this person? Well, yeah, I do, right? Do you feel lighter? Do you feel that you're moving more into a love vibration? Do you feel that kindness is becoming part of your life now, that you're bringing kindness to yourself. You're bringing kindness to others. You're being able to share that love. You're starting to move more into a state of responsibility where drama doesn't own you. Right? So you're no longer in that constant feedback loop as it relates to drama. You're now surpassing that. You're realizing that there is much more to you. You are aligning to what serves, and you're moving more into that kindness ratio, to that love ratio, to that responsibility ratio. You're noticing that your intuition is picking up a lot more. You're noticing that you're able to communicate with your spirit guides a lot more easily. You're noticing that when you go into meditation, it's much more of a deeper, enriching, immersing process, right? These are all just examples of how you feel lighter in yourself. We don't really know exactly what is a full immersion into fourth density because we as human beings have never experienced that before, about moving into a fourth density planet, right? So there's going to be a lot of symptoms that we're going to sense about moving into that next density. But it'd be more appropriate to really look at this and saying that our body is still going through a transmutation process, right? And that our consciousness, our mentality, is moving into a fourth density process, right? So it's kind of like our minds are coming forward in the fourth density before our full bodies are, right? So it's kind of like we're phased. We're phasing into that introductory cycle of fourth density. Our body is still progressing there, but again, it's kind of like a phantom effect. It's phantoming itself into a fourth density nexus, into a fourth density consciousness. And there's still a lot more work to be done within our own DNA, within our morphogenic field, etc. More of that needs to happen before we are fully immersed into a fourth density consciousness. But the whole idea in regards to what Adronis said is that 2016 would be the year where we would start to become immersed into a fourth density planet, but not fully immersed, right? Just the idea of being introduced, being introed into moving into more of a fourth density compliant civilization. Because this is basically where we're noticing these particular effects. This is all part of the transition. And that there will be those specific people that, again, will move into fourth density and will be locked in. And basically what that means is that it's not some type of punishment or jail cell in that particular way. It's that you've moved your vibrations into a appropriate compatibility to now get your foot into the door of fourth density. But is there still work for you to do? Absolutely. There's still challenges for you to go through? Absolutely. There's still certain forms of emotional balancing you have to go through? Absolutely. That's not going to stop. The idea of moving from one density to another is not a external bailout. It's not bailing you out, as it represents you moving from a third density to a fourth density, right? There's still a lot of challenges that you're going through. And for a lot of people to be able to walk through this screen door requires some emotional release. It requires you moving into more of a kindness. So what I would recommend to everybody who wants to know exactly where they feel they are is to evaluate your day. Okay? Start a diary. Start a journal. How has your day been? Were you offering a great deal of kindness to yourself, a great deal of kindness to others today? Were you being able to advance yourself in certain ways? You saw new concepts, new revelations have become part of your life? Or do you feel the latter, that there's just been this pile of debris that's just been stacking up and you feel that you've been dominated through the degrees of drama, right? And if that's basically what's happening to you, you want to be able to look at that, right? Because it is our own emotional weight that is keeping us dormant in the idea of a third density physical reality. This particular form of dormancy is going to keep us feeling very physical, very solid, basically feeling that we are being owned by experiences, we are being owned by dramas. And again, that is a third density principle. is you're still having conflicts with the self. The self is not harmonized. The self is not moving itself into a state of liberation where it can now move into love. So it can move into an ascendancy. So basically, again, like we're looking into our 7 chakra centers, right? We're moving from a third density, which is all about personal will, being able to evolve our will, being able to feel harmony with ourself, being able to create an alliance with the ego, and moving into a 4th density, which is a heart space, which is about love, connection, responsibility, kindness, being able to be of service to yourself, to each other, to the earth, to the environment, to nature. That's really the whole key. That's where we're moving into as a 4th density culture. So if your energy reflects that, and you're feeling that love vibration, you're moving more into that state of self-responsibility, you're moving more into that kindness ratio, you're feeling that there's a lessening of emotional states within yourself, that's how you're knowing that you're moving into this particular transition. It should be something that you feel. This is no more different than how you would feel when you're in love, right? You cannot go up to somebody and ask, am I in love, right? And again, it's the same question here. Am I in 4th density, right? It's being able to know that through everything that you're going through on a day. Evaluate today, evaluate yesterday, evaluate last week, evaluate last month. How have you been? How have things been in your reality? Oh, Brad, it's just been such a shakeup. I don't know what I'm doing. It's going into chaos, and I don't know where I am. That's okay, right? If you're going in through chaos, it's all just part of a very large transitional aspect here that's happening, right? But as stated, this is not the only cycle of moving into 4th density. There are going to be other cycles where there will be even bigger shifts of people moving into 4th density. But this is the introductory shift of moving into a 4th density, and only certain amounts of people are going to be moving into this particular cycled shift as it exists right now. It will come to an end around the time of the solstice of this year of 2016, and then there will be other opportunities, other gateways that will open, that will continue to move different octaves of 4th density compliant people that can, again, create this particular form of screen effect. So being able to see this locked screen. And that's another question that people ask about as well. So 3rd density is going kaput, right? We're just going to be 1st, 2nd, and 4th. No. There's still going to be a 3rd density Earth. We're still experiencing 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. So all 4 densities are going to be compliant. So you're still going to be interacting in some capacity, some shape, way, or form, with 3rd density people, right? So again, these are people who may still feel that they have bought so much into their drama, that their emotions are leading them into these ideas of great states of havoc and chaos. And you may be experiencing some of those particular people. But I liken it to the analogy of seeing past the smoke and mirrors. A person who has not seen past the smoke and mirrors can be wowed and amazed or fearful and anxious about those smoke and mirrors. When a person really starts to evolve themselves, they're no longer in the habit of feeling that they are at the mercy of the smoke and mirrors. They've seen the entire magic show. And because they've seen the entire magic show, they're no longer feeling that it wows them or causes them fear. They've moved past that. They've advanced past that. The same thing goes with, again, what we're going through here in 4th density, is that you're not going to pretend to sit in the audience and be wowed by the smoke and mirrors when you know everything about how it's done, right? So you can no longer, quote unquote, conform to that type of reality where all there is smoke and mirrors. One of these biggest aspects of smoke and mirrors is political races. They're one of the biggest smoke and mirrors there is, right? Looking into the idea of who's going to be the next president or what's going to happen politically. Who gives a crap, right? That's just my own perspective. Because the whole idea is it doesn't matter who is appointed in that particular role. It has nothing to do with you. This is just a prop that is happening in regards to the emphasis and the energies of the collective consciousness. The collective consciousness is going through different shifts, and it's like a machine. It is a reality whisperer mechanic, right? When you look into this, this is just measuring the state of the collective consciousness. Is it going to affect you in that way? Not unless you give it permission to, right? Because you're the one that is experiencing your reality. This is your world. Everything that you're experiencing right now, watching this video, you're experiencing that through your reality. So basically, if you give so much energy into the smoke and mirrors, the song and dance of the same old melodramatic themes, then you're going to make that a part of your reality. It's going to affect you in that particular way. But for those in that sense who just look at this and are just kind of laughing it off and saying, this is ridiculous, right? I'm so glad that I've moved past those particular systems because they have nothing to do with me. They have no particular type of importance as it relates to my life because I'm the one making my life happen. Now you're looking into a fourth density compliant person who's not constantly just involving and doing so much to feel that they have to try and control these situations that are happening collectively. So the whole idea in that sense is that we're not developing apathy, but we're educating people and telling them you are the one that is going to make your life brilliant. Whoever the U.S. president isn't going to come to your house and say, hey, I'm going to make your life fulfilling. I'm going to bring everything to you. Because that's no more different than believing in a savior. That's no more different than, again, attaching to certain forms of religious dogma and thinking that a preacher or a priest is going to come and save you, right? That's it. This is the whole idea, is that many of us have moved past that smoke and mirrors effect. And people want to still buy into it, and that's their choice. That's basically what they decided is an important ingredient contained within their reality. So this is how we're kind of looking into moving past the smoke and mirrors. It's no longer about elections or government or political mumbo-jumbo or any of this stuff. It's about your own particular aspects of what you consider the importance of your policies, your politics, your money situation, your financial abundance, etc. All of that is what matters, is through what you're doing with yourself and moving past the smoke and mirror entertainment-based politics that they're doing here. So, I've looked at it in a bird's eye view in that sense, looking at all these things. I'm just shaking my head. I say, they've made this into a game show. They've made this into such a laughing stock. And, this is, again, all part of looking at the smoke and mirrors, because when you're looking at it now, you're like, wow, I can't believe I used to buy into this stuff. This is crazy, because you see past the smoke and mirrors, right? So now you're moving into the idea of a compliance, of moving into fourth density, because you realize this is just the collective consciousness expressing itself, realizing exactly where it's going, and it's manifesting itself in regards to cultures, in regards to thought forms, in regards to emotional states, etc. They're all just measurements. And again, it's great to observe this from afar, from a bird's eye view, because you see how the collective is evolving itself. But in order for us to go into a transition of natural harmonious order, we need to break everything apart. And that's basically what's happening right now on the collective consciousness level. And so again, this is how you're seeing it, from moving from a third density to a fourth density integration. Everything is breaking apart so that it can eventually be reassembled by a collective will, starting with yourself in that way. So look into yourself in your own way of where you feel you are going into fourth density. Evaluate yourself and look into those transformations that are taking place. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Brad Johnson. Feel free to visit realitywhisperer.com, sessions, courses, online media, free media, and a lot more. Thank you so much for watching, and I will speak to you again in another perspective of the now. Namaste, and take care. Goodbye.